Okay, hi everyone, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to talk about housing in the UK. So the different types of houses, housing vocabulary to describe the house we live in, and the different styles of houses. So yes, presentation will look at the housing style from different periods, different historical periods, and maybe also about my future house, where I hope I will live in the future. Okay, so let's start houses. Okay, different types of houses in the UK. First, we have the detached house, which looks a bit like this, which is one house just on its own. There's no other houses, no neighbours. It's usually a big house, maybe 2 floors, 3 floors even. And usually it has a big garden as well, like this. And they're more expensive detached houses. Usually for families, people with more money, they'd live in a detached house. And usually you find a detached house outside of a city, like in the suburbs. Then we also have semi-detached house, which is like a detached house, but it's usually 2 houses. So 2 different houses, one building, but 2 different houses. So just one house here and one house here. So it's not as big as a detached house. It's medium sized. Usually still has a garden. And it's a little cheaper because it's semi-detached, not detached. So we have these 2 that you'll find outside of the city. You've also got bungalow. A bungalow is a house with only 1 floor. Yeah, so there's no stairs, upstairs, downstairs. There's just 1 floor. Yeah, so everything is on the same floor. So it's popular with people who are older or have mobility issues. So this is the bungalow. And then one you'll find more in the cities, in towns and cities, are flats or tower blocks. So the tower block is the building, and then the flats are the individual flats or apartments. These are the flats. So tower blocks, they have many floors, and each floor has individual flats. Okay, so maybe your flat has 2 rooms or 3 rooms, and of course you have no garden, but sometimes you have a balcony on the outside. In this photo there are no balconies, but sometimes we have the balcony. Okay, and the last type of house is the terraced house. A terrace is on a street, a long street of houses, a long row of houses that are all joined together. So you can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just in this photo, 10 houses. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's when we have a whole street, a long street, with all the houses joined together. This is a terrace. So terrace houses, of course, in the cities, there's more terraced houses. So in the cities, there's terraced houses and tower blocks. So let's look at some different styles now in terms of architecture. The styles, we've mentioned some of the types of houses. So for example, terrace houses have different styles. You might see terrace houses, red brick terrace houses, especially in the north of England. So you hear these are the bricks, the individual pieces. And in the north of England, it's very common to find red brick terraced houses. So the houses are very red. It's also very common to find terrace houses from the Victorian period. So from sort of 1850 to 1900. They might look like this. This is a Victorian terrace. Now, some of the oldest houses we have in the UK, very, very old houses, are Tudor houses. So about 500, 400 years old, from the 1500s, 1600s. And they're famous for this black and white colour. And these are all made of wood. So very, very old houses. There's not many left. It's very rare to find a house like this. But in London, for example, you can still find some Tudor houses and other parts of the country. So this black and white style is a Tudor style, very old. We have the Georgian townhouses, these from the 1700s, 1800s. These are very expensive houses. You'll find them in London. They've got many floors. So this is all one house. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors. Sometimes below the street there's another floor, 6 floors. So they're very expensive because it's a terraced house, but it has many floors and is very big. You'll also see flats from the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s. So after the Second World War, a lot of flats, a lot of tower blocks were built to house a lot of people and built by the government. So there's lots of tower blocks like this in different parts of the country. And some have very interesting architecture like this one. And you can see here the individual flats, they have balconies. Different balconies here. Okay, so for my future house, where I'm going to live, I hope, maybe, where I would like to live. So I'm going to live in the countryside. So outside of the city, in the countryside. I'm going to live in a small town or village. So a place with a population of 5,000 people, 10,000 people. Small place. I hope I will live in a house that has a garden like this one, with a field and trees. And I hope I will live in a house that is close to nature, so close to parks or rivers or fields or forests. So this is what I hope for the future, for my future house. I will live in a house in the countryside. I'm going to live somewhere close to nature. This is my hope, because I prefer the countryside and nature to the city. So I'm going to live, when I am older, I'm going to live in the countryside, outside of the city. Okay, so that's my future house and the different types of houses, the different styles we have. So thanks for listening to this presentation and have a nice day.